Hello and welcome to this week's all new Square Off. Let's meet this week's panel.
Billy Murphy.
I'm Jimmy Mathis.
I'm Jovani Patterson.
Hassan Giordano, aka Mr. Politics.
Oh, yeah. And I'm Richard Sher. The Epstein fallout exploded in Great Britain this week with the arrest of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He's the younger brother of King Charles III. The former Prince Andrew is charged with misconduct in office related to his relationships with Jeffrey Epstein. This arrest of Andrew, the first in the royal family in almost 400 years. And back home, some of this country's richest, most established, successful men are also beginning to fall. The list of Jeffrey Epstein's associates is growing and growing, and more than 7 out of every 10 Americans see the release of the Epstein files as a huge cover-up. Billy Murphy, lead us off.
It is a cover-up, but interestingly, one of the major British papers wrote an extensive story about why this was a honeypot operation for both Russia and Israel. And so Epstein's major source of income seems to be both of them. And the Mountbatten arrest is related to that because it was the exchange of a very sensitive group of British documents that seems to have been the reason for his being criminally charged. And it's a life sentence possibility because it's a very serious crime.
Jump in, Joe.
Who, me?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, yeah, this is, a massive cover up, but it does show just, how much, money can buy you. But also, I'm starting to see people starting to be a little bit more quiet about Trump because Trump is one of the first ones that called this out. In Mar-a-Lago, the Palm Beach Police Department, he was happy that they were finally starting to look into this guy. And this is a big cover up, and it was being used and politicized, against, a pretty much an outsider candidate that they didn't like. So I am happy to see a lot of this stuff, coming out. But it is kind of interesting to see who else is involved and how the narrative is now shifting where people are saying, well, I didn't know Jeffrey Epstein's personal dealings, or I didn't know what he was up to. These people knew, and it's time for accountability to be had.
Yeah, I was just going to double down on that. This started out as a Trump accusation. Trump was one of the first ones to distance himself from Epstein, banning him from Mar-a-Lago. You have 3.5 million files, I believe have been released, which is about half of them. I think everybody agrees. Go ahead and release the files. But this is no longer becoming a Trump narrative. The fact that Hillary Clinton is so indignant about this, I find hilarious. I mean, Bill probably flew the plane to the island. So, I mean, the fact that this is like her hill that she wants to die on doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But it is interesting to see how quiet everybody's getting on the Trump narrative of all of this.
I wouldn't say they're quiet. If Bill flew the plane, then the president was right next to him. Trump was right there next to him, serving him cocktails. Let's be honest.
And you want to be honest about it. Come on, man. Come on.
Let's be clear.
Let's really be honest.
All right, guys.
We are.
One at a time, please. One at a time.
This is what I'm talking about. When you tell the truth, Republicans want to interrupt you. They don't want you to let you finish your thought and your process, right? And we can disagree on a lot of different things, Jovani, and which we probably will. But in this particular case, I don't care if you're Donald Trump, you're Bill Clinton. We all, as black men, understand this. And Jimmy, yes, you're a black man in this conversation along with Richard. We understand that more than just them, there was a whole lot of other people that have yet to be revealed that were in politics, that were in business, that were a part of this nasty enterprise run by Jeffrey Epstein. Let's not make it like it's all about one person or two people. This is a massive cover-up.
All right, sorry, Hassan. Donald Trump says he has, quote, nothing to do, nothing to hide, that he has been exonerated. Yet, some of you have seen the video of Trump with Jeffrey Epstein partying with young girls on Epstein's Island. Former Secretary of State, as Jimmy mentioned, Hillary Clinton accuses the president of an Epstein cover-up. That's huge. Go ahead, Jim.
Well, no, Richard. I mean, Trump has never denied having a relationship with Epstein. It seems like anybody who has been anybody of any means had a relationship with Epstein. So, look, I don't think anybody on the panel is disagreeing. Go ahead and release the files. And there are a lot of people that are within those files that, I mean, the owner of the Orioles name came up, okay, as somebody. I don't know all the details on that, but yeah, it's a wide, vast list. But the fact that Trump had any association with him in the past doesn't mean that he's guilty of what these accusations are now. And again, Trump was one of the first to take actions to distance himself, to ban him from Mar-a-Lago. He's been outspoken about it. And to my knowledge on this, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, there have been no accusations from any of the victims against Donald Trump. Absolutely zero. So,
well, that's not true.
I mean, if I'm wrong, Billy, I'm wrong. But I have not heard any accusation from Billy, but from a victim against Donald Trump.
Well, the victim was Jeffrey. She committed suicide after she wrote a book talking about how Trump sexually abused her. And so this is nonsense. And the other thing is, Trump's a sex hound. We know how sex hounds think. And so if you think Trump didn't talk about sex with Jeffrey Epstein and didn't know what Jeffrey Epstein was all about, you're just naive. But hey, believe it if you want to.
You have your right to, Billy. You have.
How do you know how sex hounds think?
Oh, please. Now, if the main thing that people are outraged about is the refusal of the Justice Department to release all of the documents and the overwriting of all of the documents with redactions. And, that's what guilty people do.
Billy, but you can't.
So can you say? Hold on, Billy. Can you use that?
I wasn't finished.
Can you use that same logic against Baltimore City public school system when all the redacted documents that they released about the schools? Are you saying that's what guilty people do?
Of course. And unless
it
is required by law, and sometimes redactions are. And so, yes, and how do you get a promotion in the public school system for producing a school system which passes children who don't understand what they were supposed to learn at any grade?
Let's stick to our
but getting back and changing the subject is not productive. Let's stick to the Epstein
That's
file.
Exactly what I was saying as moderator here.
Right, but Billy, you can't substitute your opinion for material facts. So you can say that Trump is a sex addict, a sex hound, whatever you want, based on public statements that he has made. But that does not substitute fact, and you're trying to replace your opinion and present it as fact.
Hey, Jimmy, believe what you want to about what Trump did not know. But we know this. He lies all the time. There's no question about that. He has lied about the Epstein files. And so he's deep in it, brother. He hung out with the man for years.
Guys, it's Jovani's turn.
Man, I don't know, man. I say let's wait till more facts come out and let the clear picture, because there's a lot of speculation, even on this call, a lot of emotion on the Zoom already. So I would just say let's let the facts and again, we have the Justice Department that did cover up, and we can say that that's happened over multiple administrations. So we can't necessarily blame that on one administration, but we did see this current administration at least try to get the files out. And we see it, more and more things coming out from this Justice Department. So we do need to recognize that there has been some progress made. And also, you're an attorney, Mr. Murphy, so you understand that when there's active investigations that are happening, certain things can and can't be released. So, there are elements of that. So unless we're just kind of throwing all of that out the window, I think there should be some level of saying, hey, we're getting the files now. Let's look at what's in them. Yes, this was a cover up, but these things we're getting more information now, and let's let the truth come out. Let's not be in our feelings anymore.
Well, look, when there is smoke, there may be fire. But
let's let the fire burn.
Hold on. When there's smoke, there may be fire, but when there's constant smoke, there is fire.
And
Have
what's
you
the
guys
constant smoke
seen?
that you're seeing?
Hold on.
Come on, I'm not going to dignify that silly question with an answer. You know what I'm
Quiet,
talking about.
I don't. I'm sorry.
quiet, quiet.
Well, okay, then you don't.
Billy, have you guys or any of you seen on television the clips of Epstein and Trump in suits and ties and partying, and Trump apparently kissing this young girl and so forth and so on?
Well,
Have
pictures
any,
of Bill Clinton that were way worse than that. Did you see those pictures?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
What's the
so
Yeah,
point of
but it
that?
doesn't justify the. This is what
Yeah,
I understand. You're trying to deflect from the involvement of a Trump or any Republican for that matter by throwing a more prominent Democrat under the bus. It doesn't make sense. Either one of them are wrong.
I'm not.
So that
I'm not.
doesn't
I'm
like
not.
help the case that
I'm
like,
not
oh
Hassan.
well,
My
Bill
point
did it.
is this whole thing was originally framed around a Trump narrative. Okay, I think all of us agree. Go ahead, release all the files. I also agree that of the 3.5 million that have been released, they were probably redacted beyond what they legally needed to be. I don't think anybody's arguing that point. All the point I'm trying to make is get off that this is a Trump story. Go ahead and release them. I'm with you. I don't think anybody is debating or disputing
okay.
that.
Let's look at the behavior. So he says, no, I don't want to release him. That's his first thing. Second, he says, let's release him. Third, he says, I don't want to release him. Fourth, he says, I really don't want to release him. And we had to pass a law to get them released. And he was forced, because he did not want to look like there was something to hide, to sign the law into action. That's what happened.
Chess, not checkers.
All right, Giovanni, I saw you
I
smiling.
don't understand what that meant.
That
All right,
boy
we're
is
gonna take
Help us out.
that boy is
short
playing
break.
chess.
I want to ask you guys one final question, and then we're going to go to the death of the Reverend Jesse Jackson. And what do you think the outcome of this whole Epstein mess will be for the president?
Not a thing.
The whole point, Rich.
Nothing.
I mean, you and Billy are proving my point. I mean, that's what it always comes back to. I mean,
See, if we wait and see, Jimmy, all we get are redacted documents or no documents at all. And so that's the problem. It is not being a transparent process. Everybody who's concerned about the Epstein files knows that. There is outrage universally about the failure to release the 3 million estimated additional documents.
All right.
And so if we wait and see, we're falling into the trap.
All right, we're going to take a break. Great square off so far. Remember, you can reach us at squareoff.net, squareoff.net, and on there you will see a button that says, we want your information. Click here. We want all your comments about our panelists, our topics, all of this stuff. We're in our 42nd year. 42nd year. Howard Mallison, the voice of the show. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Richard. You know, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, your choice for a great meal starts at the Double T Diner. And all the menu choices are served the entire day. The Double T Diner has locations all over town: Route 40 West, Perry Hall, White Marsh, Bel Air, Laurel, Annapolis, Pasadena, and the EC Diner in Ellicott City. You've never seen a menu with so many selections. It's why the Double T Diner wins so many reader polls. Plus, Monday nights are lobster nights at By the Docks, part of the Double T family. Let them know you heard about them on Square Off. You know, with so many cars on the road and distracted drivers everywhere, auto accidents are going to happen. If you've experienced an accident, the insurance companies can't tell you where to take your car. That's why more
That's
and
right.
more drivers are trusting their auto repairs and maintenance to leading edge auto body and mechanical repair. They work on all makes and models for free pickup and delivery anywhere in the Baltimore area. So give them a call at 410-443-6433 or visit them at 5807 Falls Road in the heart of Mount Washington. They make your car look and run like new again. And if you're experiencing any kind of foot pain that requires medical attention, I recommend Dr. Kelly Gagan, a well-respected board-certified podiatrist and heel specialist. No one is immune from foot problems. Also, if your concern is the appearance of your feet, Dr. Gagan has a long record of success using laser treatments to correct your issue. They're safe, painless, go to the root of the problem. So don't suffer from the agony of defeat. Start winning with a call to Dr. Gagan at 410-753-4422 to set up an appointment. Once again, that's 410-753-4422. Back to you, Rich.
Oh, Howard, I wanted you to know that every time you reached for your commercials, your hand went up. It's scary. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you guys all right? All right. Now to a sad note, very sad story. The Reverend Jesse L. Jackson, who led the civil rights movement for decades. He died this past Tuesday at his home in Chicago, surrounded by his loving family. He was 84. As a young organizer, Jackson was called to meet Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee, shortly before Dr. King was assassinated on April 4th, 1968, after which Reverend Jackson publicly positioned himself as Dr. King's successor. Hassan, let's hear from you first about this passing. Hassan, you're muted. You're muted, Hassan.
My bad. So anybody who's been not living under a rock in this country for the past 50 plus years, a lot more than that, I'm just 50, knows the contributions that Dr. Jackson has brought to this country. It's obviously we're going to mourn him. I hope that the president gives him his just due, and I would have him lie in state up in Congress. I mean, that is the significance that Jesse Jackson has brought to this country, let alone not just Black people, to the entire country. And I hope the entire country wakes up and recognizes it and gives him his just due, because many a times Jesse was pushed to the side for other individuals and for other issues. But what he provided for this country, for Black people and people in general in this country and really across the world, is monumental.
Speak. Giovanni.
Jovani?
Bill, you go ahead.
No, I want to hear what Jovani's got to say.
May his soul rest in peace. Interesting fact. I actually grew up in Greenville, South Carolina, where he's from. Well, around Greenville. But as far as like his contributions, I'm not really sure what he did, to be honest. That's just from my life and what I've experienced. I think he was a great organizer and communicator. But far as any impact on my life directly, there hasn't been much. But may his soul rest in peace. It's definitely sad to see people go. And rest in peace with his family.
We'll hear from your other guys in just a second. Jesse Jackson led a lifetime of crusades in the United States and abroad, advocating for the poor and underrepresented on issues including voting rights, job opportunities, education, health, and so many others. Go ahead, Jimmy.
He was also anti-Semite. He knocked up his staffer while being a minister and was married. He operated in bad faith, negotiating the release of hostages that crippled our credibility on the world stage. He definitely was a great promoter. There's no question about that. Basically took over Martin Luther King's role after he was assassinated and self-appointed him as the new Martin Luther King. I'm sorry that he passed. Had the opportunity to meet him on 2 separate occasions. I respect his ability to own media and to promote himself. I found him to be very opportunistic on sensitive race issues over the years to better his own brand. I don't put him in the same category of a Martin Luther King or Rosa Parks. I'm 48 years old, so I was born after everything that we went through in the 60s. But I just saw him as an opportunistic individual that was very good at branding.
All right, Mr. Murphy,
you could say negative things about any real human being who's lived a broad life, but you cannot deny his tremendous accomplishments.
What happened to where there's smoke, there's fire, Billy? What happened to that whole thing? I mean, I'm just.
You don't know his accomplishments.
Let Billy talk. Let Billy talk.
You can't tell us all that he accomplished, because when you're in a right-wing tunnel and all you hear is what the right wing thinks about a black man in particular, you're going to get a distorted view. You're going to overemphasize his faults and underemphasize his tremendous accomplishments. And so I invite you, Jimmy, instead of using this show to list them all, because there's so many of them, to just read about his biography. Read the real story instead of the right wing story.
And Billy,
then you'll get now hold on. One more thing.
Do I get to respond to any of this?
I worked with the man my entire adult life. I was with him in Texas and around the country when he ran for president. I know what his messaging was. He messaged broadly. It was not about black. It was about being a human being. It was a message of unity. It was not a message of division. Yeah, he had some issues because he's a human being. You got some, Jovani. You got some. I'm not interested in talking about your personal life. We're talking about a man who publicly contributed so much. Look, he worked with my sister at the ACLU for 18 years, very productively. They did so many projects together. He was indispensable. My daughter worked for him for 4 years. She got to know him, unlike anybody else on this panel. I got to know him. He was a wonderful man, and he was brilliant, and he was available. When you needed him, he was there.
All right, Billy.
So
do I get to respond to any of this, Richard? Do I get to respond?
I'm an authority on I'm an authority on Jesse Jackson because I work with him so often. And look, let me tell you something. There are a lot of what in this country. I'm not alone. Who he made himself available to think problems through. How do we message accurately? What do we do to arouse black people so that they vote under or over 20% in primaries? What do we do to help the black community rise? What do we do to help black enterprise? What do we do to message whites who don't understand us and who hear only bad things about us so that we can have unity instead of division? And so, yeah, I knew Jesse Jackson. He was a great, great, great man. And all of us should aspire to that level of greatness.
Do I get to respond to any of this, Richard? Or, I mean, Billy just had
Jimmy,
like 10 minutes.
Jimmy.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead. Jimmy.
No, I mean, look, okay, I'm glad that you had a personal relationship with the guy, okay? All I'm saying is I do have respect for the real civil rights activists and leaders of Martin Luther King that was able to, create a movement, was able to put in legislative change, that was able to, push Lyndon Johnson on the Civil Rights Act. I respect it. I'm just telling you, as a white man, I don't see any real accomplishments that the Jesse Jacksons or the Al Sharptons of the world have done other than stir the pot when it's convenient.
Jimmy, let me ask you something.
Jimmy,
and I'm not
Jimmy, then Hassan, everybody. Jimmy, finish up. Be brief, and then Hassan. Go.
Again, I'm not trying to knock the guy, but I'm sorry, his credentials are his credentials. And yeah, he popped up when it was convenient for himself. And if you can name some great civil rights thing that he did other than being in the right place at the right time, I just don't see it. And the fact that you want to dismiss how anti-Semitic he was, I know he apologized for it later on. Yeah, there are things that actually show people's real hearts and who they are. That's all I'm saying.
All right, stop. Hassan, it's your turn.
Jimmy, all I would say is I would offer you, because I do consider you a friend.
Yeah.
I would offer you to sit back after the show and really think and critically understand that while society has sold Dr. Martin Luther King's and the Rosa Parks and the others onto society as the great civil rights leaders that they were, it didn't happen in a vacuum. They did not do this by themselves. There were the Jesse Jacksons that were right there by them side, helping along the way and even succeeding them when they passed. So just because he may not have gotten the same national acclaim does not take away from the important work that he put in to get black people, especially, to where we are today in society.
Hey, I would like to take a moment.
He did a lot to help you too, Jovani. And I would suggest that the narrative that you gave us about you didn't know anything about him, first of all, and that you don't know anything he did to help you, that's easy to overcome. Just read about it.
Go ahead, Jovani.
Well, let me say this, man, because the important people in my life, my father, right? So my father guided and taught me a lot of things. And I think that's an element of what's missing a lot of times, in particularly the Black community, is the element of family and that legacy that's passing down from generation to generation. I celebrate my father more than any other man, a Martin Luther King, a Jesse Jackson, anybody else. But that's my family legacy. But when we're talking about these national figures on the national stage, where's the fanfare for Dr. Vadi Bakum, who just passed in September? No one talks about him. Maybe many of you don't even know who he is. And then when you go back in history, look, when you talk about people like John Morant or Harry Hoosier, or even current figures like Thomas Sowell, these people get overlooked because they talk about economics and talk about actually lifting people up. Instead, we celebrate these people that were great orators or mass crowds of people, and don't really do things like self accountability, right? So again, I celebrate my father. You can knock me for that if you want. That's on you, and that's how you feel. But my father is the one that I celebrate. My family is the legacy that I'm building. Good. God bless his family.
It's not one of,
May he rest in peace. But
Really
and
hold
that's
it.
his family's legacy that they live with,
All right, we need
and
to
that's
take a
fine.
break. We need to take a break. Here's Howard, and then I'll talk to you a little bit about how Oprah and I spent time with the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Howard, go ahead.
Thank you, Richard. Hold on one second.
Sure, take your time. We have nothing to do.
I know that. If you
Billy,
or a family member has experienced personal injury, medical malpractice, or nursing home neglect, it's time to call the law firm of Barry Glazer. He has a legal team and resources to go after big insurance companies to get you every penny he can. With an in house medical doctor and nurse, his attorneys work on the toughest and most complex medical malpractice cases. Barry Glazer is your best advocate for the injured, disabled, and medically abused. So give Barry Glazer a call at 410 547 8568 and let them know you heard about them on Square Off. And Pappas Restaurant and Sports Bars are synonymous with the best crab cake you'll ever taste. But there's
yummy.
lots more to the Pappas menu, a whole host of specialty dishes you won't find anywhere else. So for fine dining, special occasions, or just watching sports, Pappas should be your number one choice. That's why Oprah and the Pappas crab cake and put the Pappas crab cake on her favorite things list, and it's well deserved. Pappas ships their crab cakes all over the country, 4 locations: Parkville, Cockeysville, Glen Burnie, and Bel Air. I guarantee you'll become a Pappas regular. Back to you, Richard.
All right, I do want to say that Oprah and I got to know the Reverend Jesse Jackson. He did People Are Talking, which is a show that we used to do. And he was really a fine gentleman. He was fun. We became friends. We met at the Super Bowl in 2013. 2013. This is halftime during the time that the lights went out, remember, against the 49ers. And we sat there, and Jesse and I just talked. He was a good guy. And I see that Howard has a picture of Billy and Jesse. Is that picture up, Howard?
yeah, you can see it.
All right.
Jesse and I marched together in Flint. We had a lot of projects together, and I knew Jesse wasn't flawless, but he was great nonetheless. And Jovani, we all have fathers. We all have great fathers. Everybody on this panel had great parents. But that shouldn't stop you from looking outward into the world and understanding the forces that affect us all. And Jesse understood those forces, and Jesse educated us about those forces. And so it's not one or the other. It does not diminish you because you didn't know about Jesse Jackson, but you have an opportunity to get to learn him because, unlike what people may have told you, he was a great man and a great human being. Please learn about it.
Again, my response isn't about what people have told me. I haven't looked online or anything like that, and this is my honest first reaction to this, to Jesse Jackson passing. My point is this: a lot of people tell me there are forces that work against me. I haven't seen them. right? And one of the things that just psychologically, and I work in sales, is it's a mindset. It's a mindset. Everything, whatever you focus on grows. So if you focus on racism, you're going to see racism. Or if you focus on opportunity, you're going to see opportunity. And everyone tries to tell me that there's somebody holding you back. There's somebody keeping you behind. I'm gonna tell you, man. I'm a six-figure earning engineer with no degree. I made my way just based on character. What my father taught me. My father, as a construction worker, pouring concrete in the summers, that's where I learned how to be a good engineer because it's about work ethic, it's
We need
about
to wrap
character,
up.
it's about building. And that's what I learned. That's what taught me to get me to where
All
I
right,
am.
stop.
So it wasn't these social movements, it wasn't anything else. It was my father teaching me the basics like character and being a decent person.
Well, you are a decent person. Reverend Jackson, in a poem, he often repeated, he sought to reach people of all colors. I may be poor, but I am somebody. I may be young, but I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. You
See,
guys
he
are
had the same
terrific.
philosophy as you. He
What,
had the
Bill?
same. He had the same philosophy as Giovanni. He had the same. You can do it. He had the same. Don't listen to the negative. You can do it.
Do
He
you
had the same
All right,
inspirational
guys,
quote
But Billy,
as Giovanni.
you just told me there was so many forces against me. You just
it
told me,
is
but
There
just because
see, you're
you
trying to
need to
convince me
celebrate.
that I'm being held back. You guys are
You,
just sitting here trying to convince me
oh
that
my
I'm
God,
being
bro,
held
you
back.
lost.
stop it.
But I don't agree with
You
that. I
lost,
don't
bro.
claim
Billy.
anything.
If you really think that, and I'm proud of what you've accomplished. You would have never made it to that accomplishment had it not been standing on the shoulders
Of
of
my
the
father,
Billy
of
Murphys,
my
the
father,
Jesse
of my
And
Jacksons,
that's
father,
the
it.
of my
fathers, your
father,
Stop,
father,
my
yes,
father.
the
everybody.
Dr. Kings.
Stop
Like,
it.
come on, bro. What are we doing?
Stop
No,
it.
my father.
All right, gotcha. Gotcha. Now, something new. We want your feedback here on Square Off. We want to hear from you. It's a good show you want to comment on. Go to squareoff.net. When you get there, go down and you will see a little line that says, we want your feedback. Click that. Click here, it says, and you can write your comments, and we'll read some of those on the air. Want to congratulate Tyrone Keys, one of the stars of Square Off, who was named the Republican vice or lieutenant governor candidate for Ed Hale. And we good luck to you, whichever way you go. Good luck to everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jovani. Thank you, Billy, Hassan, Jimmy, my man, and we'll all see you next time. I'm Richard Sher. Once again, we square off. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Be careful.